Let's do a diary entry, shall we, everyone? What an absolute pleasure it is to I gotta put socks on. I can't be barefoot on the internet. I'll get wiki feeded. I'm tentative about this particular entry. I was tentative to get on and do one because I've been a bit angry this week. When I say a bit angry, I've been very angry this week. I've been getting mad at everything anyone's doing. Anyone who like slightly puts me out, like steps in my way when I'm walking down a path, I'm like, oh, for fuck's, like something's going on with me. And the reason I'm tentative is because I try my best, right? I try my absolute best to limit the amount of my sort of crazy that I present to my community, to the audience, unless it is entertaining. And I just don't think this is entertaining. I just think I'm shitty with so many things at the moment. And I'm wondering if it's like, is this a me problem or is there a lot to be shitty about right now? Like my friend Nicola messaged me, and in a similar sort of vein, she was like, I know this is like, I'm being shitty, and I'm like, I don't know if this is the right attitude, but fucking hell, what happened to quote unquote customer service or like professionalism in teenagers? And instantly, fuck, did I feel old, because I was like, yeah, I've been feeling that a lot lately. Now, it's not just teenagers. Let's be real clear. Like, there are a lot of people working in that you have to interact with out in the world who are either doing a task or selling a product or working in some facility, some facet, who should not be interacting with people. And I don't know whether, like when I was a teenager, I worked at a supermarket. When I was a kid, I worked at a bakery. Then I worked at Hungry Jack's, which is Burger King in Australia. Then I worked at Subway. Then I worked at Woolworths, which is a supermarket, Safeway, like that sort of thing. And then, what did I do after Safeway? I think I went straight from Safeway to then I worked at a school. I was a media assistant, arts assistant, doing the shows and helping the media kids, rentals, all that business. I worked in a school basically as an assistant to teachers. And then I went to Melbourne and did so many fucking weird jobs. But I always show up with a certain level. And I know this isn't like a this generation kids these days thing, because there are so many people, young people, who are working in retail and that, who are great. But there is, I don't know if there was more demand, like it was harder to get a job when I was a kid, like more people were trying to get work, so you really had to be good. Or I cannot tell you what it is. Or maybe there were just as shitty people around when I was a kid. I don't know. I'm losing my train of thought here. Focus, Matthew. My friend Nicola was at this fish and chip shop, and basically the kid was really shitty. Like the just interaction that they were having was sort of like, yeah, what do you want? Like that's what it sounded like. And then it was a thing where, all right, he hit that. All right, cool. All right, swipe please. They swipe, bing, goes through, and they go, there's going to be about a fifth, like there's going to be a little bit of a wait after processing the payment. And my friend Nicola's like, well, how long a wait? She's saying, like, could be 15, could be 20. And she's like, is it 15 or is it 20? Now, traditionally, I wouldn't say that, and she wouldn't say that unless the kid had been fucking weird. But I had the same thing. I think I talked about this on Mentally Illegal or GMAT podcast when I went to Woolies, and I went up to this kid and I was like, excuse me, buddy, do you know where I can find blah, 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 blah? And he went, yeah, I don't know. And then went back to doing what he was doing. And I was like, hey, buddy, can you point me in the direction, maybe get someone to help me out? Like, a kid's fucking stupid. But like, how does this kid still I would have been fired for that shit when I was younger. Legitimately, I would have been out the fucking door on my ass. I had to leave my phone in my locker. I had to smile. I had to you had to greet. You had to blah. If you were just generally not like, hi, how are you? No, I don't think you have to do that shit. I really don't think you have to do that shit. Like, I don't want someone to fake it, but common decency and common courtesy when you have to interact with someone, whether it's in a job or out socially, you say, "G'day, how are you?" Now, you don't have to be like, "Hi, how are you?" But would you interact with anyone in your life? Would you, like, you're going out to dinner, someone's bringing a friend, and you're going to meet them for the first time, and they're like, "Oh, it's my buddy Dan. He's really good value. You get along." And you come up and you go, "Hi, everyone, this is Dan." And he comes up to you, goes, "Hi, I'm Dan," shakes your hand. You go, "Hey, how are you?" Now, as I say it out loud, that doesn't sound unreasonable. But if a kid at a checkout went, "Hey, how are you?" I'd like that. But if your Dan came up and gave you a shake of the hand and went, "Huh," you'd be like, "Excuse my French?" And there are people that do that. I like that time I went through the Macca's drive-thru. It was the only time I ever fucking like acted like a little shitty princess. Was when I came through and the girl was like, "Is that right?" Pointed to the screen and I was like, "Yeah." And then held out the FPOS machine and I tapped it and she put it down and then she shut the window. And I was like, okay, that's rude. I don't need fake happiness. But it's like, if you aren't going through your life and work and life, no matter what you do, if you aren't going through it, like at the very least, being courteous to people you interact with, what kind of shitty person are you? I truly cannot, and I don't know if I'm being unreasonable, but I can't think of a time when I wasn't courteous to a stranger in my life. And I definitely can't think of a time I wasn't courteous to a stranger when I'm at work. Know what I mean? When I worked at the reject shop, everyone that came in, I was the fake shitty, "G'day, hey, how are you? Having a good day?" Like that sort of, I don't expect that. Not everyone can do that. But you can say a "Hi, how are you?" And there are a lot of people who don't do that. Sure, this is a real small problem, but this is what I'm talking about. I'm getting shitty about this shit. I don't need to be this grumpy about this sort of stuff. There's absolutely no reason for it. So why am I grumpy? Well, hopefully we can unpack that today and try and work out exactly what the root of my fucking upset is. Because realistically, if I go through a checkout and I get my shit and I go home, I should be happy with that, right? I mean, I don't even want to interact with people. So why do I feel anger when I interact with someone and they aren't like what I consider the bottom of like the lowest required courteous, friendly, professional. I don't know why. Have I been built to believe that is a requirement? Is that human nature? Do I need to feel that? Do people need to not have negative interactions with people? Dunno, man. Could not fucking tell you. I think realistically, and let's just keep this in the back of our minds the whole time as we move through this conversation, that this is not worth a podcast over. This is so not worth this discussion. But I'm having this discussion because this is my diary. And this is the things that are bothering me. These are the things that are bothering me. Yeah, I believe you should interact with just a modicum of courtesy to strangers and to people. You bump into someone, you go, "Oh, I'm sorry, buddy." Like that dude the other day who threw my hat at me after I left it in the restaurant and was like, "Hey," and I turned around and I was like, "Oh, I'm so stupid. Thank you." Oh, and he threw the hat at me, turned around and went back into the restaurant. No word, nothing. Now, I wanted to go in there and put his face on the fucking grill because I was like, first off, don't throw things at me. Second of all, what do you think I was doing that justifies that type of response? Because the hat isn't a bomb. The hat isn't trash. It's not garbage. It's a hat I really, really like. And I left it by mistake. And I'm really happy you brought it back to me. But could you give me a fucking nod or a no worries or like, "You idiot." Like, I don't fucking know. But why are people so fucking rude? What is going on? Did COVID make us all fucking monsters? Did COVID make us... I know I'm overreacting. I have to be overreacting because surely the majority of people are courteous and kind. And I'm just having weird interactions, and my friends are having weird interactions. But it's like as well, I talked about my friend who like went into the restaurant with her mum for lunch and there was no one to seat them. They stood there for a bit, so they went and sat down. And the person came over and was like, "Hi, are you being served?" And I'm like, "Oh, no, we haven't been served yet." And they were like, "Hey, did someone seat you?" And they go, "Oh, no, we stood there, but no one was there." Because genuinely, if I came in a restaurant and it said stand here to be seated and the restaurant was empty or the cafe that they were at was empty and no one was there, I'd be like, okay, maybe because it's so quiet, there is no one to seat. So you go and sit down and the server will come. I would have done the same thing, but then the server gave him a little bit of a blast. So everyone, you are supposed to wait and you get seated. That's how we know that you're here. Now that conversation, so unnecessary because it doesn't resolve, do, or achieve anything except making the customer feel like they've done something wrong, which they haven't. They didn't come here and try and skirt around the system or try to get something out of you. They sat in a table amongst empty tables and were trying to buy your product to feed to their bellies and put caffeine in their fucking veins. And you blast them for no reason. Unnecessary conversation. Unnecessary thing to say. Shut it the fuck up. I am guilty of this because I do a stream and people come in and they say something and I think, I don't know if this person is being an asshole and I'm going to bounce back. But I don't work in a professional environment. I work in an odd environment. I understand that. I hope you guys can understand that too when you go through. If you're watching this and you've been on my stream and you're like, I don't know, man, I came into the stream and tried to give you advice on Monster Hunter and then you blasted me out loud by saying there's no backseat gaming. I don't know if you're being particularly courteous, but at the same time, there are rules in the stream and no backseat gaming is the top rock and roll. Maybe I should be more courteous on the stream. Maybe I should be kinder to people if I'm going to ask that of people as I go out and explore the world. I don't know, man. I think people are generally... I think it's okay to be an asshole right now. You know, like... I was about to say this, the left is really... I feel like I should start this podcast. I feel like I should start every podcast by saying these thoughts are not... I do not stand by these thoughts. This is a stream of consciousness. I don't have notes. I have literally the only thing on my table is a penis that I drew. If you don't believe me, watch the... Oh, I dropped it on the floor. Well, now there's a penis on the floor. Great, I've got bloody willies everywhere. I don't have notes, so this is a stream of consciousness. I'm just talking. I'm just thinking out loud. If I say something that sounds off or sounds upsetting to you, I might believe that, and you might just have to get the fuck over it. But also, I may not believe that. And I may not go back for things. So you need to trust in either you trust that I'm down to my core, a decent person, and trying my hardest to do and achieve things that are in the pursuit of everybody being happy and nobody feeling excluded. I would not want anybody in the world who I interact with to feel like I am excluding them, judging them, attacking them, if they are just trying to go about their lives. If they're not trying to affect me, if they're not trying to make me do anything, if they're not trying to put me out of my own comfort zone in a way that is unreasonable, I have no problem with any human being on this earth. Everybody should be able to feel and act the way that they want as long as it doesn't hurt anybody else. That's what I should say. As long as you aren't hurting anybody, I don't care. But there are a lot of actions happening right now from people that are directly hurting people. And people are actively being assholes online and being fucking cunts behind the fucking, I don't know, the indestructible shield that is social issues. By standing behind something that's right and acting like a fucking cunt, somehow they think they're doing the right thing. But that's not how we should act, behave. That's not how we should be as people. I can't even remember what my thought was. Yeah, so I don't stand by anything that I'm saying. I'm just working this out as I go. The reason I said that was because I was about to say this feels like a thing from the left. I am a left-leaning person. I am a liberal. I vote Greens. That's where I stand. You don't need to know any more than that. It's not important because I know that's the thing when people go like, you're a Liberal voter, you're a Labor voter, and if you're far left, you're a Green voter. But I don't believe that's true. I think that's just whatever. It's not worth getting into. I'm not smart enough to actually defend my position. I take my beliefs And I build my beliefs politically around people that I believe are intelligent and good people. You might call that lazy. Sure, go for it. But I don't think there's anything wrong with having something you aren't particularly informed in and putting your trust in people that you trust. We do that for everything. Sure, there's a big difference between who should I vote to run the country and what restaurant should I go to. But is there that much of a difference? I don't know this area. I'm not that good with food. What do you recommend in Melbourne to eat? I'll take your recommendation. I have a lot of other shit going on in my life. I'm a busy person. Politics have always gone way over my head. Who do you think I should vote for? And just talk to me about it. Thank you. That's just really informative. And why shouldn't I vote for these people? I fear. Now I'm going to go from you, and I swear on my fucking mother's life, this is how I behave. I'm not putting up this defense right now, this reasoning. This is how I go about my life. I would go to someone like Beck, who is informed, works for, actually I probably shouldn't dox who she works for, but she works in an industry that would make her very informed on that side of the thing, as well as knowing what the other side is doing. And then I go to somebody, shoot me in the face if you want to, I go to someone from the other side who I trust and I believe in and I am friends with. And I see what they want to say, and then I make my own choice. Inevitably, I go to the left. But I love this person on the right. You know? Because not everybody on the right is a piece of shit. Not everybody on the left is a piece of shit. But I guarantee everyone listening to this can think of one person, one left-leaning and one right-leaning person that you fucking hate. God, I got off topic there. I was going to say, this is something that I find a lot from the left, but I disagree. It's actually left and right will do this thing. And I have lost what it was. After all that that giant tangent I just went on, I have forgotten what it was that the left and the right do. Oh. Who am I? I think people just generally act like assholes online. And they certainly ride their high horse and make people who aren't doing what they do, following what they feel, they point at all them and go, shame on you, I am so great, you are so shit. And I also think that is a behavior that is abhorrent, and that's from people my age, my generation. What I like about the new generation is they're not such fucking soft pussies. And boy, do I hate saying that, because if I say this generation is full of soft pussies, that's going to piss off a lot of people, and it shouldn't. I'm a soft pussy. And by that, I mean I have basic fucking empathy. I'm using the term soft pussy colloquially. But I do like that this new generation coming in is a little more hard-nosed. For whatever reason, seems a little tougher. I might be getting this wrong. All right, I may be totally off here. Maybe I've interacted with the wrong, teenagers that I find through my life when I'm hiding in the bushes. Just teenagers that I interact with, family, and when you do shows, you work with younger people. But they're fucking cool, man. They're cool kids. And they're like, almost all of them are left-leaning, obviously, which is wonderful for me, because then I don't have to have those awkward moments where I'm like, fuck. Here's a kid. I'm going to have to fucking make sure that this kid doesn't say anything weird in front of this person because this person's going to blast them and they're yeah, whatever it is. It's just that's how politics works. It's easier to interact with people who you share views and values with. That's not a laziness thing. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that, right? It is easier to interact with people that you share values with. That shouldn't be a controversial statement. I don't know why I'm acting like it will be. It's harder to interact with people that you don't have values, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't, and it doesn't mean you shouldn't enjoy that interaction. Maybe you just don't talk about politics. Anyways, I like this new generation. They seem cool. They seem left-leaning, but they don't seem like they're ready to jump on every fucking person who says something wrong or fucking asks a goddamn question. Do you know how many questions I've asked and people have looked at me like I'm a piece of shit? I'm asking a question. I'm trying to get an answer. I'm trying to learn And you're looking at me like the question means that I feel different from you. This has happened. Oh my God, I can't tell you how often I've just been like, I don't get this. Please tell me. I did this with trans women in sports. Because on paper, right? On paper, you have someone who was born a particular gender. I don't want to, this is such a scary topic to talk about. You have a person who was born a particular gender. Just remove all your feelings from this. Remove what is right, what is wrong, and just listen to the words that I'm fucking saying. You have a person, let's start at the basics. Generally, and this surely can't be disagreed with, this cannot be a controversial statement, but at the very basics of gender, when you're talking about a cisgender man, a cisgender woman, if you do an average, men are stronger. Physically. They're built differently. You look across the board and the average must be of course you have women who are built like, brick shit houses, and you have men who are built like the feather of a dove. But generally across the board, that's not the case. Men, bone structure, muscle mass, men will be more powerful. I don't believe that's a controversial statement. Cisgendered men, on an average, would be more powerful than cisgendered women. And there's whatever, go work it out. That's just how it is. So on paper, you say, all right, you had someone who was born, blah, blah, blah. They grew up, let's say they got to the age of 30, and then they was, their whole life they've been struggling with their identity. And now that, the systems, the world is starting to change a little bit, they felt like that now was the time where they could finally express themselves, and they transition into a woman. And then they start competing in women's sports. Now, on paper, you cannot argue. And I'm on the same side as the people who will be getting mad at me right now. I'm just saying on paper you would go, wait, that doesn't seem right, because that person spent the first 30 of their years of their life building the bone structure, the muscle mass, the power of a cisgender male, and then transition into womanhood. Even if they started taking drugs to like estrogen enhancers, the testosterone, they still have their body. I don't believe bone structure can change. All stuff that I don't actually know. But I'm saying on paper, it's not an unreasonable thing to assume that your average person will be like, well, that doesn't sound right, because it doesn't sound right. Now, I asked a friend of this, a friend I trust with my life and my heart and soul, someone who is very left-leaning, and one of those people that I go to when I'm saying something that when I'm thinking something that is probably wrong. And they're a safe person to ask, or at least they were for many years. And I'd come to them and be like, hey, I'm struggling with this thing. I did it twice. I could tell you two. Well, I did it more than twice, but there's two that stand out in my mind. One was that. And then they went, I'm not actually that informed on it, but here's some stuff that I've read about. And they told me things. Now, again, I am not a bright person. Let me just put that out there. I'm bright in some ways. You know what I mean? There are things that I can do that a person who is really politically motivated and retains information really well can't. Like edit a high quality. I can make a high quality video using professional grade editing tools. I can run After Effects. I can build a PC. Like this stuff that I'm good at. But you know what I'm not good at? I'm not good at retaining information. I was never good at that. I wasn't good at that at school. I don't retain facts very well. I don't even really, for someone who spends his life talking, I don't even really retain words that well. You will find this out if you're listening to this podcast, if you listen to my other podcasts, if you watch my stream, watch my YouTube, you watch my life unfold on the internet, you'll see how many times I go, what's that fucking word? I am constantly seeking words because I want to be more learned. I want to have a bigger vocabulary, but I'm just not good at it. Photosynthesis. Point is, not everybody's brain functions the same way. I believe I'm a little bit dim. I'm in that unfortunate area where I'm smart enough to know I'm dumb, but not dumb enough. I'm smart enough to know I'm dumb, which sucks. I want to be just a bit dumber so that I wouldn't care and I wouldn't notice. But all the time I'm like, fuck, I wish my brain would be a bit like, I read a book and I read a sentence, and I read a sentence, and I read a sentence, and I read a sentence. And I'm like, I just read the same sentence 4 times. Why can't I get this fucking thing into my cunting brain? please understand that there are a lot of people like me who go through the work, and we are trying. We're really trying, but not everybody is the same level of intelligence. So, the point there being that my friend informed me of a lot of stuff that changed my opinion, but I now cannot remember. I cannot regurgitate the information that they gave me. I just know I have a feeling in my soul, deep down in my heart, that what is happening in sports with trans women and the rules that have been in place and the systems that they are making, because not every single trans athlete is just allowed in. That's not how it works. There are systems in place. There are things that happen that make it fair enough. And it's so rare that it's truly not that big of a deal. That's what I know until someone else comes in and informs me of some new facts. Unfortunately, that's how I go through my life. I have a conversation. Now, in the conversation, I'm taking all this information. I'm going, oh, that's really interesting. Then you have your opinion changed. And I don't believe, again, call me lazy, call me whatever you want, but I don't believe I need to now, 2 years on from this conversation, still have retained that information with the fucking constant barrage of information that comes at you every single day. Sometimes it's hard to retain shit. All I'm left with is the feeling that I'm doing the right thing. Now, I would never go into a conversation with someone and try and change their mind about trans women in sports because I don't have the facts. But that's what's important, is that the people who do have the facts are informing their friends, their family, their loved ones. Of course, there are people who don't have the facts and somehow inform people, and people change. And of course, that's the way that misinformation spreads and blah, 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 blah. But that's why it's up to us individually. This is the thing that I believe every single person can do, regardless of intelligence. You have to put your trust in people that you trust. That system's not going to work all the time, but I'm not going to take the opinion of, I can think of 10 people who I'm good friends with that I wouldn't take their opinion on board. I can think of 3 people who I would, because they have shown me and they have proved to me and they have made me trust in their intelligence, their insight, their empathy, and their research. That doesn't seem like the craziest thing in the world to me, but so many people would be like, that is wild that you aren't doing your own research. The other conversation I had with this person once was, it was about J.K. Rowling. Or Rowling, I can never remember how her last name goes. Again, bad information retention. Also, I need to jump back to the episode from last week. Neurocracy is not the word I was looking for. I looked it up later. I was like, this is not even a word. This is a business. It was J.K. Rowling. She said something about trans women in bathrooms that got everybody really, really upset. Or she supported the bill to pass a law that they would have gendered bathrooms and you had to go to the bathroom in the gender you were assigned to at birth. And on paper, I just went, I don't know, man, that doesn't seem that unreasonable to me. Now, again, just like the trans thing, the trans in sports thing, I have since changed my tune to a certain degree. I'm not totally, it's still, I need to talk to more people because I still haven't run my head. Now, that doesn't mean that I disagree or I agree or anything. That just means I'm still learning. I'm still working it out. And the great thing is, I don't need to have a say. I am not spreading my information. I am not trying to change people's minds, and I am not voting on anything. I am just a human being in the universe trying his best to learn. The very core, I want people to be safe. And I saw a TikTok the other day of a trans man, which for those who don't know, because again, people don't know this stuff. A trans man is someone who was born a woman and transitioned into a man. Trans woman is born man, transition woman. It's that mnemonic. I don't know if it was a mnemonic device, but I went, whatever gender you say at the end is what you are now, not what you were born. I hope that's not offensive. I truly am not trying to be offensive. Maybe I'm a bit fucking daft and dumb, but I'm not trying to be offensive. I really truly want everybody to be happy in their skin and safe. And I felt, the point was I saw a TikTok of a trans man who looked really buff and hairy and tough and was like, you seriously want me to go into a woman's bathroom You want me to go into the bathroom that I was assigned at birth. I've lost my fucking train of thought. No, I've lost it. I can't remember. The point is, that was another thing that, like, on paper, I went, well, I get it. I mean, are there people that are going to try and, like, mess with the system to attack women who are in bathrooms, that sort of thing? And then at some point, this was the thought I had myself. This was not put on me. But I went like, well, I guess, you go into a bathroom. It's not like people are at the doors right now saying, what's in your pants as you walk into a door. So realistically, if the law changes to allow people to go into the bathroom of the gender that they feel that they suit, nothing really changes. Because let's put in the worst, trigger warning, I'm going to say the R word. But let's imagine there is a rapist who is trying to rape a woman, right? Nothing is stopping him from going into a woman's bathroom right now and doing the same thing. So, like, the law changing doesn't stop that behavior, and I really don't think it enhances it. That was what went through my brain, and now maybe that's because a life lived in a right-wing community and environment that my brain immediately goes there. Do I think it's necessarily a bad thing to be in my brain going, I want people to be safe, and that's the first thing I think of is everyone going to be safe? Yeah. And then there's that whole thing where, like, people said that once. It was like, the law is there to make sure that women are safe. And people came back and be like, listen, if you want to talk about women being safe, you're fucking taking away their autonomy, their own bodies, and their ability to seek abortions when it's, like, necessary for their health. Like, if you care about women's health, this is so women's safety, this is so low on the priority list. Yeah, that works for people who are in power, but, like, I'm not in power. I'm just a person thinking about stuff. So that doesn't land with me. My thought is everyone safe? Anyways, the point is, same thing happened. We had a conversation, and I went, makes sense, done, solved. I'm on your side. I agree. Is that okay? Why is that not okay? Why does everybody have to, from the get-go, be on the right side or they're a piece of shit? Like, the correct side, depending on who is, dictating the conversation, what the correct side is. Maybe you're on the right, because the right will do the same thing. If you don't instantly agree with them, they're like, oh, you're some libtard fucking pussy. And you're on the left and you go, I don't know, the trans thing is interesting. And they go, what the fuck, you transphobe fucking turf piece of shit? How about we have a fucking conversation? How about you talk to me like my friend has and has won me over so many times? Because I can't change my nature. I can change my nature. That's the whole pursuit of this podcast. But the way to change my nature is to have these conversations. And my nature is consistently being challenged and changed. And that's what being a good person is. That's what being a good person isn't being good from the get-go. It's maybe being bad and then working out what good is. Trying to be protective of people, trying to make everyone feel safe, and trying to ask questions that get you answers, that get you closer to that. I mean, man, after years of this person informing me, I remember having some conversation, right? And I didn't get it, and I came to them, and for some reason at some point they were like, it's not my job to educate you. The information is out there. Go and seek the information. Now, what a fucking unbelievably privileged perspective that you can have when you're standing there saying everybody has access to the same information, they should go out there, acting like every single person comes from a private fucking school like you. Acting like every single person in the world has the same resources, education, income, background, community, live in the same areas. Everybody is really, really different. And there are some people like me who come from a small country town surrounded by right-wing people, having that drilled into our brains every fucking day. And we go to a shitty school that isn't funded, where the ATAR, the highest ATAR you can get, the score of the person at the top of the school is 20 points below, like, the fucking middle range of a private school in Melbourne where these people come from. You go to this school, your education is hard. I had a book smacked out of my fucking hand when I was trying to read it, for just trying to get educated at school. It was a bad thing to fucking try. And this shit happens all the goddamn time, right? So it's you get bred. The pathways in your brain are different than other people. That's just education. Then you have resources. If you're sitting down at the end of the day and you have the time to get on the fucking newsfeed app on your phone, or you have even just the knowledge of where the resources are, is a privilege. That's a privilege. And there are people who don't have that skill. There are some people who don't even have internet because they can't afford it. All right. So at the end of the day, if you're out there and you're going on your phone, you're learning this stuff, and then you talk to some person. Let's put my dad in the position. You go to my dad and he says something shitty and he goes, well, tell me about it. You go, it's not my job to educate you. I'm so sorry. My dad is working 16 hours a day. 16 hours. He's working overtime at a shitty job to try and make enough money. And this is true. Make enough money to pay for his wife's chemotherapy. Right? So at the end of the day, when he comes home, he doesn't sit on the news app or get involved politically or sit there learning stuff. Right? He comes home and he fucking collapses because he's tired. He chopped his fucking finger off 2 days ago. My dad doesn't have the fucking end of his ring finger because he was so tired at work, working these long hours. And you're going to go up to someone like that and say, it's not my job to educate you. What a pathetic, privileged pussy you are. Get some fucking perspective and help your fellow man and actually get involved in stuff that will actually change shit. Stop posting shit on Instagram because that doesn't fucking matter. There are people on my Instagram, right? And now Tim Minchin said this. This is the thing I shared, where there was this list released of celebrities who endorsed and backed Black Lives Matter, who then didn't endorse and back. I'm not going to say it because just saying the words fucks up the algorithm and gets you sort of silenced. But the big thing that everyone knows that is happening overseas right now, right? There are people who haven't said anything about that said stuff about, and they released that list to the public. Like, look at these pieces of shit who aren't saying what, and he said it. He said, what a disgusting, like, abysmal behavior that you would actively in your mind think that a celebrity is a piece of shit because they didn't say anything. I haven't said anything. I don't post things on my social media about it because call me fucking whatever you want to call me, but this is not my personal. I only have my work. I only have that Instagram. I don't have a personal Instagram. The Real G-Man is my business Instagram. That's what I use. And I don't post stuff there because when you post stuff, you get blacklisted and then no one can see your shit. And this is my job. This is how I make money. And right now, I have a few thousand followers. That doesn't matter. No one's like if I lose that, it's really not going to affect me. But I need to have the ability to share stuff with the people that watch my stuff so that I can make my fucking living. And if I post anything about that, it's gone. Now, you may argue, so you want to keep your career over tens of thousands of people dying, including children. And to that, I say, no, of course not. I'd quit my job tomorrow if it stopped 10,000 children dying. But the fact is that if I post something, it's not going to do anything. And do not argue with me that the mass, that everybody does, and that's how it becomes, because it literally, with full confidence, I say this, will not do a fucking thing except get my channel, my page blacklisted. And that gamble is not enough. When there's other stuff that I can do where I don't, I put this back to you, cunt. Would you go into your job tomorrow and tell your boss to stop paying you? That is no different. What you're saying is post this and get blacklisted. I'm saying, okay, go in and start swearing at people in your business. Or, start posting. Wait, how does it work? Stop posting. Goes to, you get what I mean though, right? Social media is not the world. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. I hope at the end of that, what I was trying to say was clear. If I really truly thought that me posting something would have an impact, I'd do it instantly. I know it won't. And it's the people who are posting saying, people who are not saying anything right now are disgusting. I'm like, no, that's not even so fucking, that is so untrue. It's bananas. Because also you don't know what people are doing because social media is not the real world. The fact that you would sit back and you would say, you know what? Kelly hasn't posted anything about blah, 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 blah. Do you know what the fuck Kelly does in her day-to-day? I donate monthly to 3 different causes. Do I care very strongly about these causes? Not particularly. Did I get scammed into it because I thought it was a once-off payment? Yeah, of course. But any 3 of those causes, you could be saying, he doesn't post about that. What a piece of shit. I put money in the pocket. I'm actually doing something. And I don't tell people that because it's not important information for you to have. Do I think that makes me a good person? Absolutely not, because it's an accident. But what I'm trying to say is, if you're looking to social media to decide who is good, who believes what, and who is doing what, if you're looking to social media for that information, you, my friend, are a fucking idiot. You are a simpleton and you need to get off Instagram and go touch some fucking grass. I've been going to the gym a lot. Oh, man. So I have been angry. I've been getting riled up really easy. But like this stuff bothers me, man. This really bothers me. And I feel instantly better. I feel so good. I shouldn't let people get under my skin this much. I let people get under my skin for nothing. Like stuff that makes me sad. You know? Here's an insight into my brain. I avoid watching sad movies because I know they'll make me cry. Even movies that make me cry from happiness, like where the ending is so beautiful you start tearing up, my body and brain is so fucking simple that it doesn't know that it's crying from happiness. So I just get depressed for the rest of the day. That is a medical condition. I should not be allowed within 200 meters of a school. My brain is not set up right. That was a joke, by the way. That had nothing to do with children. I was just saying the stupidest thing I could think of. I don't fuck kids. So what I'm trying to say is, everyone, stop thinking that you understand why people are doing certain things. If you're looking at a person and you're thinking, if you know what, actually, let me take that back. Don't use social media as the example of a person's personality. Don't use social media as the example of a person's thoughts, behaviors, because social media is not real. Okay. If you go into the world, you'll notice that all the stuff we talk about on social media does not actually happen, does not come up. Like, it just truly is not the world. And by the way, to the people who do post and get grumpy, your posts are doing nothing. Is there something else you could possibly be doing? And by the fucking way, oh boy, strap the fuck in, because I say this with full confidence. If you are posting stuff about what is happening overseas, and that's all you're doing, and you are also looking down on people who aren't posting, that is the sweetest syrup of all. You are a terrible person. You are a legitimately terrible person. Okay? Get off your high horse. Put your money where your mouth is. Make a donation. Do something, because there's got to be something more you can do than fucking opening your gob on social media and then getting grumpy at other people who aren't, that might be doing stuff in their private life. you know. Me? Yeah, I'm worried about getting blacklisted. I also, unfortunately, am not educated on the subject. I believe a certain thing from the information that I've seen, but I haven't had the opportunity to sit down and really, truly digest everything. I would need to do research before I'm comfortable saying anything. I'm not even comfortable saying this right now. In fact, I'm going to cut all of that. Because again, I don't want to get blacklisted. It's a scary thing. It's a scary, scary topic. I promised myself I wouldn't cut anything from these diaries. I'm cutting that because, well, first of all, I don't think it's important. Everybody knows what side, that I'm on the side of. If there's one side that seems to be getting aggressively brutalized and it seems to be getting to the point of a rhymes with schmenicide, then we should fucking maybe try and help out those people a little bit. It's fucked up. It's a fucked up world we're living in right now. And it's made ever the more fucked up by, there are people I know who post shit, who I know are doing nothing. They're posting shit and making long posts about how people who aren't posting shits are pieces of shit. And they close their phone and they go back to playing Stardew Valley and they go have coffee with the girlies and they do. And I'm like, the disconnect that you like, it's like this high horse that they get to sit on and go, I am better than everybody else and you are all terrible because you didn't post this video today. You didn't make everybody look at a small boy being killed in front of them. The post. What are we getting for brunch, girlies? What a fucking monster. Talk to you guys next week.